Connor Nason. Today I'm going to be doing a concept video on digestion. What I'm going to start with is salivation and salivary glands within salivation. So, in the salivary glands, these will typically produce saliva. You guessed it. Uh, there are two different categories of salivary glands, and these categories are the intrinsic glands and the extrinsic glands. Now, the intrinsic glands are composed of unicellular glands, and these will usually contain an enzyme that begins digestion called lingua lipase. Uh, the picture on the right shows three. I put that there to represent the main three extrinsic glands. It was supposed to represent like a triad thing or whatever. Oh yeah, the three extrinsic salivary glands are the parotid, submandibular, and the sublingual salivary glands. Extrinsic glands are known to produce the most saliva, and the saliva will be passed through these ducts that are dedicated to each gland of the intrinsic glands. Uh, Types of cells that are located within the salivary glands are usually serose cells and mucus cells. Serose cells will produce a fluid that usually has electrolytes and salivary amylase in it. Mucus cells will produce mucin, and this forms mucus whenever hydration comes into contact with it. Functions of saliva. So every day, about 1 to 1.5 liters of saliva secreted every day, and it's mostly made up of water with some salts mixed into it. This saliva that is secreted will moisten food, contains salivary amylase, which also works to break down starch and contains antibacterial substances. And this saliva can also cleanse the oral cavity. All right, phases of digestion. So we have the first phase, which is the cephalic phase. This is where the thought of food will initiate reflex in this phase called the cephalic reflex. So you're like, I smell delicious food. That usually mm, causes nerve signals to be sent to the hypothalamus and then to the medulla. And then there's also vagal stimulation of the stomach that is increased, and there's also an increase in motility and secretion. Next is the gastric phase, and this phase will begin whenever the bolus uh, goes into the stomach and is usually regulated by the gastric reflex, which is initiated by a stretch in the stomach. In this phase, a hormone called gastrin will be secreted due to the presence of food. Um, this hormone will enter the blood and eventually will come back to the stomach, stimulating contractile activity and the release of hydrogen chlorine acid. Hydrochloric acid. Yeah, that's what that is. Even further, in the intestinal phase, the intestinal reflex is usually involved in this, and it also happens to be opposing the gastric encephalic reflex. Chyme will be going into the duodenum, sending signals to the medulla, causing the motility and secretory activity of the stomach to decrease. I think that's supposed to say motility. My bad. Alright. Enzymes of the pancreas and small intestine that help with digestion. The pancreas has pancreatic duct cells and acinar cells, which help produce a pancreatic juice. And this juice is mostly made up of water, bicarbonate, and digestive enzymes. These enzymes found in the pancreatic juice are usually pancreatic amylase, which digests starch. Pancreatic lipase, this digests triglycerides, so like lipids, or fats, I guess. um, Inactive proteases that break down proteins whenever they are activated, and nuclease, which digests nucleic acids. Uh, Enzymes of the small intestine, lactase, which break down lactose into glucose, sucrase, which breaks down sucrose into glucose and fructose, and maltase, which breaks down maltose into glucose. So the reason why I have a picture of the knives right there, it's to show that you know how you need not different types of knives for different types of foods? Well, you need different types of enzymes to break down different types of foods. All right, defecation reflex. What are the structures involved and how does it work? So, some structures involved in this is the sigmoid colon, rectum, internal anal sphincter. How it works. So, the rectum is filled with uh, fecal matter, feces, yeah, and the urge to defecate will be felt, and the sigmoid colon and the rectum will receive increased output from the parasympathetic nervous system, and the internal anal sphincter will receive decreased output and will begin to relax. I think I got it mixed up.